All right, Mr. Thiel, thank you for joining us, and I do want to apologize again for the disruption from the protests, something we've all been kind of griping with the past few weeks, and it is something that I do want to bring up later. But to start off, the full title of your book is 0 to 1 Notes on Startups, or How to Build the Future. But reading it, I kind of got the sense that it was less a guide for startups and more sort of a system for how to make successful venture capital investments. So for you, is building the future more a financial endeavor or a way to make society better, to improve society?
Well, I think certainly all these things overlap. I mean, I think it's heavily driven by the people who well, let me start by saying I think you can have innovation in many areas. It's not necessarily limited to small startup companies. It could also happen in large companies. It can happen in large or small nonprofit institutions. It can happen in government. It can happen in many different contexts. There are a number of reasons I believe that small companies are often a very promising place for us to encourage innovation as a society. They tend to have fewer internal politics. You can try to explore ideas or lines of research that people have not looked into and that they may be more skeptical of in some larger institutions. And so I think for a variety of reasons that in our time, small companies are often a very promising place in which to do it. I think it's, I've been both an entrepreneur, founder, as well as an investor. I think you do need some of both, although it's probably 80% on the entrepreneur side, 20% on the investor side. And I think my book is probably, there certainly is a way in which if you were a venture capitalist, it would give you a pretty good set of ideas on how to think about evaluating a lot of companies that I think a lot of people don't use very well. But I think if you're starting a company, it also gives you a very good sense for the kinds of questions one needs to answer in many contexts. I've spoken at Y Combinator a number of times, and it's sort of like, people have a reaction somewhat similar to yours, but it's sort of more like, wow, I finally know what I have to explain to investors to make the company work. My hope is that if you're able to explain that properly, you will also, in the same time, build a successful company.